To recap and summarise on the significance of the IFSC. Having been established in 1987, it has been the base of operations for Irish and other international elites to house tax-dodging operations on an international scale. It functions as one of the world's major offshore systems of shadow banking. It has a fixer network of accountancy and legal firms, whose daily business is to arrange and facilitate the complex structures of tax avoidance for transnational corporations. The main means of operation are tax treaties, special purpose vehicles, and UCITS to facilitate money movement and tax avoidance. Essentially, the success and growth of the IFSC has been the ability to offer investors a number of key advantages as a conduit between US and European financial markets, being geographical location and artificially declared profits via discrete deals with Irish revenue, as well as light-touch regulation and low corporate tax rate. One other major asset management firm, indeed one of the world's largest, that consider the IFSC to be of key importance to their operations, are BlackRock. In the Celtic Tiger fallout of 2008, BlackRock were among the major firms to swoop on Ireland in the establishment of NOMA, buying up vast amounts of properties and mortgages. To this day, they remain among the largest private portfolio holders of residential property in the country, pulling in millions annually from rental income, having billions in assets under management at the IFSC also. However, the BlackRock association with Ireland goes much farther. In 2011, the government awarded them, against EU public tender laws, a contract by the Irish Central Bank to stress test the private banks of the time. This was purely to their favour, as the government have since issued legislation for firms to write off past losses so as to reduce taxable income, and given BlackRock owned shares in Bank of Ireland, was a win-win for profits well into the future. What attract major asset management firms such as BlackRock to the IFSC is little to no restriction on high-risk speculative investment hedge funds. This lack of normal regulations as the IFSC housing an estimated 40% of global hedge funds. The Section 110 tax avoidance regime, stemming from the Tax Consolidation Act of 1997 and use of special purpose vehicles, all work in tandem to facilitate one further financial vehicle, known as an FVC, which stands for Financial Vehicle Corporation. This basically is the packaging of longer-term income streams, such as mortgages and business loans, into assets to be sold, similar to the collateralized debt obligation and mortgage-backed securities of the subprime mortgage crisis between 2007 and 2010. From the IFSC, hedge funds can be authorized and active within a 24-hour period. Since 2008, hedge fund profits have exploded from €219 billion to €732 billion. As of 2021, the government and Irish revenue in the course of time have become even more responsive and compliant to tax-avoiding resident demands of anonymity. The invention of the Irish Collective Asset Management Vehicle was the solution, giving complete hedge fund speculation, anonymity and tax-exempt status, with only the requirement of a form filed with the central bank, while all activity is kept out of Irish Revenue's registration and public reporting. The Irish government maintain an unhealthy lobbying relationship with the likes of BlackRock. As explored previously, BlackRock, as well as other firms, position themselves to try manipulate legislation in their favour, getting close to political and economic resources on a local and EU level. The government, indeed due to this lobbying and revolving door culture, sees ministers operating from positions within halls of power, coming from major financial and legal firms and vice versa. This dangerously undemocratic lobbying culture was exposed not long after the Celtic Tiger crash, in what was called the Clearinghouse Group. This was essentially an abuse of government office during the noughties, when, in a bizarre and unconventional move, the Department of the Taoiseach employed the Department of Finance and Revenue Commissioners to act as consultants. This was later disbanded and exposed as a clear and obvious infiltration and integration attempt of these government offices by major firms such as Merrill Lynch, Citibank, KPMG and others, drafting and tweaking government policy to suit their agendas. In 2012, then Irish MEP Nessa Childers exposed tax break perks being made for Clearinghouse Group executives, comprising of members of these firms, in the annual budget of the Treocher austerity measures for Ireland, while the ordinary public were facing major recession and hardship. The Clearinghouse Group being exposed quickly called for its abolishment. Since, however, new committees behind closed doors have formed, consisting of the same legal and financial firms, in the guise of advising top civil servants, various government departments, and the Industrial Development Authority. Various bodies, such as Transparency International, have criticized this blatant hypocrisy of the establishment and its leaders, facilitating and protecting the private interests of corporate elites, all the while supposedly acting as publicly elected servants, working for the Irish public's welfare and interests. Response to these criticisms come in the form of lip service statements, such as "we need foreign investment," "low taxes are crucial to foreign direct investment firms," and "we must remain competitive." The entire tax avoidance IFSC operation has left the Irish state wide open to vast sums of potentially illicit funds being funneled through the IFSC and back to home countries, namely the US. In response to increasing scrutiny from bodies such as Transparency International, as well as governmental pressures from the EU itself, the Irish establishment continue to drag its heels on creating a transparent company register concerning the IFSC's tax avoidance ongoings. Again, wholly hypocritical and truly undemocratic.